Hey gamers, this is Liz Davidson from Beyond Solitaire, and today I'm going to be reviewing Onirim, designed by Shady Torbey, and the original game in the Oniverse series. Onirim is a very simple card game in which you are a dream walker who is trying to navigate a dream labyrinth. In order to get out, you're going to need to find each of the 8 doors. There are 2 in each color. And to open the doors, you're going to have to find cards in the deck and lay them out in specific patterns. Your hand will have 5 cards in it, and one of the rules for laying down cards is that you have to have symbols that don't match next to each other. So I can't put 2 sun cards next to each other, and I can't put 2 moon cards next to each other. In addition to what symbols can be placed next to each other, colors of adjacent cards do matter. If I want to open a door, I'm going to need to get 3 cards of one color in a row. So let's say that I lay down a red sun, and then I'll draw back up. I don't necessarily want to put a blue or a brown moon there because I'm hoping that I can get 3 red cards in a row and open a door. However, sometimes things don't come off the deck the way that you want them. If that happens, you're going to have to take a risk. If you can't play one of your cards, you're going to have to discard something from your hand and then draw off the top of the deck. Let's say, for example, that I think there are a lot of blue cards left, and moons are rarer than suns. So I'm going to get rid of this blue sun and pull, ta-da, a red sun. What that allows me to do is lay down a red sun, and now that I have 3 of these in a row, I'm able to search the deck for a red door. Play's going to proceed this way until I can get enough cards out to get the doors that I need. Here in my hand I have a new issue because I can't put 2 suns together, but I have a sun here and a sun here. So I may do something like put down a blue moon in order to get these green cards out and get a green door. In addition to these simpler decisions that come from having the cards with just symbols on them, there are other cards in the deck that we'll talk about now. Some cards in the Onirim deck, for example, have keys on them. And these keys both act as a symbol, one that's different from the sun and the moon, so you can lay it down in your card spread to look for a door. But the keys can also help you in the game in 2 more ways. One thing that the keys allow is that when you discard one, you get to perform a prophecy. And that means that you get to draw cards off the top of the deck, discard 1, and then place them back on top in an order of your choosing. So it enables you to manipulate the deck and try to get some more of those pesky doors. The other thing a key might allow you to do is if you have one in your hand and you happen to draw a door of that same color, you can use the key to immediately open the door without having to lay down a bunch of cards first. So if I drew the other red door while this red key was in my hand, I could immediately place that door on the table in front of me. If you draw a door and you don't have a key, you have to shuffle it back into the deck at the end of the turn. The other thing a key card can do is chase away a nightmare, which is the other kind of card that appears in a standard game of Onirim. When you draw a nightmare card in Onirim, you immediately have to deal with it, and the results aren't always pretty. When you're confronted with a nightmare, you have a choice. You can give up a key, you can give up a door, or you can discard your entire hand, or you can discard the top 5 cards on your deck. In other words, the nightmare is always going to make you sacrifice something. And if you sacrifice too much, or you sacrifice the wrong thing, then you're going to lose the game. One of the other things I really like about Onirim, and this is a trend that actually began with the second printing of Onirim and has continued through all the other Oniverse games, is the presence of multiple expansions in the box. And also true to Shady Torbey's design, each expansion gives you a little bit of something, an extra power in the game, but it also makes the game more difficult. Probably the best known expansion is the Book of Steps Lost and Found, which enables you to place out these extra doors as goals. So you're supposed to open the doors in a specific order, but you also get to use your discard pile to perform spells to make that more possible. Because churning through your deck to try to find the doors in order is almost impossible without something to help you along a little bit. There's also an expansion called the Glyphs that gives you extra doors, extra gold cards if you're going to play with Book of Steps Lost and Found, and gives you extra cards with a different symbol on them to help you coax some doors out of the deck. One thing I would like to mention with those extra gold cards is that one thing I love about the expansions in Onirim is that they are completely mix and match. You can play with one expansion or you can play with all of them all at the same time or in a combination of your choosing, and I think that's great. Other interesting expansions include the Dream Catchers, in which you have dream catchers and are trying to catch lost dream cards. The Tower expansion, which adds a new kind of location and a new set of challenges to the game. Happy Dreams and Dark Premonitions, which give you happy dream cards, but also have conditions which, when fulfilled, bring about negative consequences, and crossroads and dead ends, where you have multicolored cards that can be used to help you open any door, but you also have dead ends that clog up your hand and cause you to waste turns trying to get rid of them. So now for some final thoughts. Onirim is one of my very first solo games that I ever bought, and it's still in my collection today because it offers something very special, which is a meditative, relaxing gaming experience. I think Onirim may be the most relaxing game I own, and that makes it an interesting but also comforting game to pull out when I'm trying to relieve stress or just pass time on a work night, or it's actually small enough to take to lunch because I've tried it. There's something about the combination of the art and the laying down of symbols and cards one after another that just makes the game very pleasant to play. Although Onirim can feel like a bit of a luck fest, there are a lot of interesting decisions to make as well. Are you going to give up a key to get rid of a nightmare? Are you going to use it right away to open a door? Or is it worth trying to use a prophecy right now? Should I discard a card in my hand in hopes that a card of the color that I'm looking for is going to come up? And of course, as you add expansions, deciding what to do with things like spells that use cards in your discard deck can really add to the decision space of the game in ways that are pleasant because it gives you choices to make, but it's not overly taxing. It's still a very chilled out game. And speaking of the expansions, I really do like them. One thing that's always impressed me about the Oniverse series, but it really started here, is the inclusion of lots of mini expansions in the game box, which means that Onirim never gets boring. I can always add one expansion, more expansions, combine them in any way that I see fit. And for me, that's something that's really pleasant in a board game, especially in a small box board game. It also makes the game feel like a good investment because there's a priority placed on making sure that you get maximum enjoyment right out of the box. That said, there are two things about Onirim that may not make you very happy. The first of these is luck. I mean, yeah, Onirim is a card game where you are hoping to draw the cards that you need when you need them in order to open those doors. You can do a lot of card counting and thinking about what you've seen before, what might be coming up, but in the end, there are times when you get unlucky, and there are times when you go sifting through your deck looking for something that you want and you just don't get it. If that makes you crazy, then Onirim might make you crazy. The other major complaint about Onirim, and one that I really don't share because it doesn't bother me, is the shuffling. Every time you pull a door that you can't open, you will have to shuffle it back into your deck. Every time you go looking for a door because you've opened one, you're going to have to reshuffle your deck. With the expansions, if you pull other types of dream cards, those also will have to get shuffled back into your deck. So if shuffling a lot is something that bugs you or you feel like it's too much work, then that's something you're really going to notice about Onirim. A lot of people feel that they can get around this by playing the app, which is a completely legitimate way to play Onirim. I personally prefer the tactile experience of using the cards, but if you hate shuffling or if you just want a cheap version of the game on your iPad, then the app is definitely worth looking into for you. Overall, however, I think Onirim is a delightful game. There's a reason that it's been a solo staple in my collection for so long, and why it continues to hold pride of place there. And it's that while it's a light game, it's also a very relaxing and meditative one. And for that, I give it an 8 out of 10 and a Dice Tower seal of approval. Happy gaming!
Thanks so much for watching another Dice Tower video. If you enjoy our videos, subscribe to the channel for more fun, comprehensive board game coverage. Also, consider joining us at one of our events. Come to Dice Tower Retreat, a small, intimate gathering where gaming is king. Join us for Dice Tower Cruise, the largest board game cruise. Attend Dice Tower West in Las Vegas for gaming fun on the West Coast, or Dice Tower East in Orlando, in sunny Florida. Dice Tower Conventions, the friendliest gaming conventions on Earth. I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower.